Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. You ever work with somebody that's good at their job, but you can't really depend on them? You know, they'll show up late sometimes. When they do the job, they're good at it, but there's some nonsense that comes with it where they might disappear or, they're aloof. And when that happens, the job can't get done as effectively as you would like. That doesn't mean that this guy isn't as good at his job as other people. In fact, he's better at his job than other people. Only except you can't really depend on him. That's kind of who Kyrie Irving is. When he comes to work, he's actually really good at his job when he comes to work. But that's the difference, getting him to come to work. He's that employee that he'll come to work, but sometimes he's late. He'll come to work, but then he's sick, and then he'll go home early. So there's really not a lot of consistency with him. And when you're trying to build something, it's difficult to build around that because, I can't depend on you. Your availability is your best ability. Kyrie Irving's been in Brooklyn for 3 years. In the 3 years he's been in Brooklyn, he's played 103 games. That's 34 games a season. That's not half the season. 34 games a year. And I'm trying to build a foundation here. I'm trying to build a championship contender. Can I build my unit around a guy who shows up once in a while, and when he does show up, he's actually really good at his job, but there's some extracurricular nonsense that comes with it? Can I build my unit around that? Well, I think that Sean Marks, the general manager of the Brooklyn Nets, has decided that no, I can't. And that's predicated on what happened this offseason. Well, what ended up happening? Kyrie Irving opts into his deal. Well, why did he opt into his deal? Let's rewind the clock. So Kyrie Irving moves on from Boston to Brooklyn. Him and KD get in cahoots. I'm going to Brooklyn. Well, I'm only coming if he shows up. Well, great. So these two guys show up to Brooklyn, and the first year is a wash. KD's coming off the Achilles injury. We all know that, so that's a wash. Kyrie Irving gets hurt that season. He only plays 20 games, which is something that goes back to what we talked about in terms of dependability as an employee. Yet they still make the playoffs. And in fact, they were a little better when he was out the lineup. Excuse me. So, when they do that, there's expectations for the next season. All right. We're going to be better next season. Irv's going to be healthy. KD's going to be healthy. We're going to be ready to rock and roll. And they do. They end up bringing James Harden into the fold. And now, we're going to be at the top of the mountain. KD breaks down. He only plays half the season. He has a hamstring injury. Irv gets hurt in the playoffs. Well, this is something that's been customary with him. This is something that's been ongoing. That's a consistent theme with Kyrie Irving. Okay, so we kind of expected that. We might have been talking about the Brooklyn Nets as the NBA champ had he not gotten hurt. But that's who he is. James Harden disappeared in the playoffs. All right, well, next season, we're going to have all three of these guys together. Right? Next season, we're going to have all three of these guys together, and we're going to make a run at it. Because now we're in year 3. Kevin Durant gets vaccinated. James Harden gets vaccinated. Kyrie Irving says, I'm not doing that. Now, I can't dispute that, and the reason why I can't dispute that is simply because it's your body. I think you do what you feel is necessary for you. But when you're on a crew, when you're on a team, it's me for all of us, and it's all of us for me. That's the way a crew works. One for all all for one. That's the way that works. It's not just about me when I'm on a crew. I got to buy into everything that we're doing. And everything that we're doing, when you bring James Harden in, I asked for KD. KD and I both agreed to come here. The logic is that we're winning the championship and we're going to do whatever it is or whatever it takes to win it. So, this is what they're doing. You know what? I'm not feeling that. Nope. I'm not going to do that. So now the commitment is questioned. So we're going to go out and we're going to still roll, which is what Brooklyn was doing. They were at the top of the Eastern Conference. And what Brooklyn decided was, I'll tell you what, Irv, you could be a part-time employee. Even though we'll still pay you as a full-time employee, you could be a part-time employee. And you can play games on the road. All right, well, we'll see how that goes. And then that gets a little tricky. Right? All of this is going on in the general manager of the Brooklyn Nets, Sean Marks. I think that he's at that point where I don't know if this guy is worth the headache. As good as he is, as good of an employee as he is, as productive as he is when he shows up to work, I don't know if he's worth the headache. So he goes to management because it's now time for contract extension talk. And I think he went to management and said, I don't know if we should extend him. Because getting in bed with him for another 3-4 years, we've already seen over the last 3 years what it is. This is not going to change. This is who this guy is. This is what he's about. So, there's no reason for me to think that this is going to change moving forward. Add that to the fact that we caved with letting him be a part-time player. I think that compounded his behavior. And I think Marks goes, we can't move forward doing that. So if you guys want to extend him, my suggestion is we need to put a lot of language in these contracts. Well, all right, Irv, if we're going to extend you, we're not going past 3 years. And not only are we not going to go past 3 years, we need you to play a minimum of 60 games. You got to practice a certain amount of times. Because there has to be some incentive for us. Well, Irv apparently doesn't like that. And in the process of him not liking that, he decides, all right, I'm going to wait. And I'm going to wait to see who might be interested in signing a trade for me. Turns out it's not many takers. Not many takers. Word was that the Lakers were interested. And Brooklyn made it clear that there is no trade if Anthony Davis isn't involved. And if you are a smart GM, I don't think that you're trading Anthony Davis for Kyrie Irving. You're not doing that. No. So, essentially what Kyrie Irving did was he bluffed the Brooklyn Nets. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take their mid-level exception and I'll go sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. And Sean Marks said, it was nice to see you. It was great. Go ahead. And he called his bluff. And they looked eye to eye and they played a game of chicken. Turns out, Irv said, no, that's not a good idea. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to opt back into my deal. Which works for Brooklyn. Because now that gives us some leverage. And why does it give us some leverage? Because now, if we're going to move on from him, unlike Danny Ainge, who let him walk out the front door, if we're going to move on from him, we're going to move on with a suitable partner who he's going to extend with them. And we're going to get that established before we trade him anywhere. Now, we've already come to the conclusion that, the Lakers aren't interested. They were, but they weren't at that price. They're not interested. So if he plays this season, which I don't think this thing is over with just yet. I'm not 100% sure that this thing is over with yet. But if he plays this season, he's basically betting on himself. Okay, I'm going to play out this deal. I'm going to ball out, and then I'm going to enter unrestricted free agency next year. Now, I think this thing is dangerous because I feel like LeBron James, and I hate bringing up James in this situation, but James wrote the blueprint on what not to do when your superstar player does not sign an extension in a contract year. James already proved that. If you're not going to re-up, we got to move you. And the reason why we got to move you is because we're going to get left with our pants down. Because you're going to walk out the front door, and that's terrible business. If you look back to 2000, going into the 2009-2010 season, what do you think James would have gone for? If the Cleveland Cavaliers said, we got LeBron James on the trading block, what do you think he would have gone for? He would have went for the house. Whatever you want, you can have it. For him, in year 6, going into year 7, arguably the best player in the game, yes, you could have got the house for him. Well, Irv is a little bit different in the aspect that he's problematic. And in the process of him being problematic, his availability is in question. That's a part of him being problematic. So his value has gone down. But you can still get something for him. Unlike Danny Ainge, you can't let him just walk out the front door. That's not going to work. No. I don't think that this thing is over. I'm not ready to just sign KD up for, I'm not ready to sign Irv up for the 22-23 season. I'm not sure that this thing is over yet because, again, I think Marks is over him. I do. I think he's over Irv, and I think he's had enough of him, and I think he's ready to move on from him. So I'm not ready 100% to say that this thing is over, but I do think that the Brooklyn Nets played their cards right. He called Irv's bluff, and Irv folded. And I understand why. I can't sign this guy to a long-term deal, being as inconsistent as he's been, both on and off the court. We're talking about a guy who, on the court, when he plays, again, even though he's only played, on average, 34 games a season, 27, 6, and 5. Problem is in the playoffs, those numbers go down to 22 a game. And his health has been in question. I don't know if I can build my unit around something like that. I don't. I'm not sure that I can build my unit around that. So, I think that Brooklyn did the right thing. And moving forward, I don't think that this thing is over. I'm really interested to see how it unfolds. Just like I'm interested to see what happens with John Wall. How he's going to segue into the lead guard role with the Clippers. I mean, he's going to be in a battle with Reggie Jackson for the lead guard spot. The question that needs to be answered with John Wall is, can he even play? I mean, we haven't seen, over the last 3 years, he's played 40 games. Can he play? Can he still play? We don't know. Can he still play? So we're going to have to find out what exactly the story is with him. I think he's going to be good. Because the only question for him is his health. He tore up his Achilles, but last year when he played in Houston, the athleticism before he got hurt again looked like it still was there. He looked like he still was fast. Still looked like he was athletic. So I don't think that that's in question. The question is can he still play at that level? And that's what we're going to have to find out with him. With him particularly. So free agency starts in 2 days. We got a number of different teams that have some cap space. And not only do we have a number of different teams that have some cap space, we got a number of different guys that are on the trade block. And not just the trade block, but in free agency. So I'm really interested to see how this thing opens up and how it unfolds. So I will be around. Like I said, I'm going to be around for as long as you guys want me. And I'll keep you guys posted on what's going on. But I'll be around for as long as you guys want me. So until then, take it light, but take it.